This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Radio Today is brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Colina Insurance Limited, the Free National Movement, Prince Masters, and the Progressive Liberal Party.
Yeah, listen close now. Let me tell you the truth, let me tell you the truth. Hear me clear. Power of the people never lived in a fight. Not in politics, not in degrees on a wall. It's the spirit inside that outlives it all. They teach you to search everywhere but within, chasing paper crowns, forgetting where you've been. But when a soul reconnects to its sacred core, you don't walk the same way as before. When you know who you are, you don't feel.
And that's right, when you know who you are on 96.9 Guardian Radio, fresh news, smart talk all day. I am your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Enes III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. And we got some big news for y'all today, man. You got to know who you are. Got to know what is yours. Today we're going to be talking about the reality of strengthiness regarding land justice reform and reparations in the Bahamas. Before we actually bring our guests in, I just want to make sure you know the phone lines today, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259 in the Family of Islands. Toll free, 242-300-5720. The Guardian Radio text line is powered by BTC. That's 422-4796. Standard text rates do apply. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com. And on Cable Bahamas, channel 969, or BTC Flow, channel 612. Today, we have our regular Tuesday guest, Dr. Tinker. My brother, you there with us today? Make sure you don't mute. You don't mute it. We'll get him in just a second. But we have two other special guests.
I'm here, man. I'm here.
You here? Okay. I just making sure. We just making sure, the people know you here. They say, make sure Dr. Tinker come on the radio. I say, all right, he here. All right. But also we have a mentor of mine for many years. Both she and her husband. Husband is not here, but we have Dr. Jacinta Higgs, and we also have none other than Dr. Bernard Young in studio. And Dr. Tinker, they know who you are. So I'm going to make sure Dr. Higgs and Dr. Young get an opportunity to and I think they know who Dr. Higgs is too, and probably Dr. Young. But just for the sake of those who may not know, just tell people who you are so they know who they're listening to today, please.
Blessings and peace, Bahamas. I am Dr. Jacinta Higgs. I am the president of Akepin International Academy, a small private school located in beautiful Fox Hill, Bahamas. I am an educator by heart, by nature, by art, by spirit. I'm a Foxhillian, small gal from a very small community, but a very powerful community. And so I'm a cultural activist, a philanthropist in my community of Fox Hill. And it is an honor, God bless you, Uncle Sarah,
yes.
Dr. Cleveland Enes III, to be here with you today.
Amen, amen. And Dr. Young, please.
A very pleasant good afternoon. It's once again to be able to share in this special way my name, Bernard Young. I am the great-grandson of Leon Walton Young.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
If we time date ourselves like the Enes clan can backtrack a couple of generations, you have what we call standing.
Yes.
I too have
standing.
Amen. Which is a very important thing,
yeah.
particularly in today's environment where you're not sure who you're dealing with,
Lord.
or the vested interest and authentic love for the land.
Yes.
And I do have that burning, hot, torrid
That's why
love
you're here. That's
for
why
the
you're here.
land.
Yes,
And that's
indeed.
why I'm here today.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you very much.
And Dr. Rudolph Tinker, I know people know who you are, but just briefly give a backdrop of who you are for the sake of those who may not know who you are, please, sir.
Well, I'm also from Fox Hill. Dr. Higgs is my cousin. We're up on a couple feet away from each other.
Yes.
So but I'm here. Before I leave in Fox Hill, went to Garden Hills, left for a while. I think family clan name for us would be Camps and Saunders, and we moved up in the Garden Hills area in the '80s, which was only Garden Hills. Now you got 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think. And I'm currently based in the U.S. right now.
Okay. So let's jump right into it. It's election time. It's a lot going on. And these shows, of course, that I produce or choose to bring to the Bahamian people are shows that always, in my estimate, I would pray, help to awaken sense of self, sense of identity. And today we're going to talk about land and why land is so important. Before we dive into this quick conversation, it's just ironic that I was within our church, the Holy Coptic Church. We're working to bring forth the original books of the Bible, or the ancient African version of Scripture, so that we can see it from an African perspective. And we recently worked on Genesis chapter 23, which is the death and burial of Sarah, which is Abraham's wife. And before I had read this through African eyes, I really couldn't appreciate it. So I want to just set the table by reading some of this, because I think it ties into what we're going to talk about today. But this burial of Sarah, and we call Genesis, originally it's called Bereshith in the ancient Tamaraic, ancient African language. But this legislates burial as a legal act of land burial, a legal act of land anchoring, not emotional ritual. That's what the colonizer made funerals and death. They just made it an emotional ritual. The purchase of land through burial establishes permanent ancestral claim and future return rights. The chapter demonstrates, as Genesis 23, the chapter demonstrates African transparency ethics. I didn't even know that was a thing, transparency ethics, because we do so much things cloaked. But we have a thing called African transparency ethics, and we're going to display that today. Land transactions must be public, witnessed, and spoken aloud. Land transaction must be public, witnessed, and spoken aloud. The princess or queen, the mother, Dosugu Sarai's death is not marginal. It activates covenant law through the matriarch. This chapter establishes that land is not owned abstractly, but entered through lineage, death, and memory. The expanded verses of this chapter make clear that death completes law, not life. Let me say that again. Death completes law, not life, because life continues through the genealogy. Abraham does not conquer land. He submits to law to acquire it properly. Burial shows that women anchor land legitimacy. Women anchor land legitimacy. Mourning, I always wondered why some people would hire people to mourn at their wedding. At their funeral. I said, what's that about? Mourning pauses action, but does not suspend governance. So if you in the middle of dealing with a death and people trying to take your land, no, we mourning right now. So it pauses action, but it does not suspend governance. Every sentence teaches that permanence comes through contract covenants, not force. Contract covenants, not force. So we've been bullied out of our land in many instances because we're not actually living up to contract covenants. The colonizer don't recognize contract covenants. And in many instances, we think like the colonizer. African moral law treats burial as juridical. Graves are legal witnesses that bind land, people, and future generations. Graves are legal witnesses that bind land, people, and future generations. Greco-Roman systems reduce burial to memorial symbolism, detaching the dead from the land claims and legal authority. Imperial systems prefer cemeteries because they neutralize ancestral power and make land transferable. They prefer cemeteries because they neutralize ancestral power and make land transferable. African burial resists dispossession by making memory enforceable. This chapter directed on abstraction. So some imperial land abstraction has happened in this country, and some people are still trying to make it happen. But I have my three esteemed guests to discuss land, and I'm going to allow them to dive right in. I wanted to just set the table, and I'm grateful for Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma, who's working on this work. This is his work that I'm sharing with you today. So, Dr. Higgs, Dr. Young, I give you the floor.
Well, blessings and peace again. Thank you so very much. So, my dissertation is on how the colonial educational system strategically created a curriculum that is separate and divorced from what you just taught and shared. And they created African amnesia, cultural amnesia.
Yes.
So therefore, persons are walking around intelligent and, Frantz Fanon, that's a movie that's out, I hope persons go and see it, where he talks about being a black man, but having a white face, having a white mind system. So you just brought, and I love what you did, so watch what you did. You talked about scripture, and so birthright. The wars in the world is over land.
Yes.
So it's over land. So I just wanted to touch base, and that's what you're saying. And then I wanted to go to daughter. So for me, you called upon Sarah. Sarah, you started with her. I want to start with a woman called Ann Miller. So when we speak these kinds of conversations, I am now asking for Almighty Creator, Most High God, and all of the angels and saints. This is my Catholic teaching combined with my Afrocentric epistemology and knowledge. And so may the ancestral enduring spirit of Ann Miller, George Miller, John Miller, Robert Miller, all of those families in South Eleuthera who wrote wills. You should see how beautiful the wills look. I mean, they devised everything, including their silver spoon and the cat and the hen. I mean, everything. And then acres of land, 200 here for my servants and heirs and descendants forever. Oh my goodness, you should see the will from 1869. And she died in 1871. And it was etched in writing for all of old Dinah, old Chloe, old Scipio, Sailor George. Oh my goodness. So may those I'm calling, like how in the Catholic Church, every Mass, fathers call all the host and the litany of the saints. I'm calling those names as you started off with Sarah from the Bible. Because right now, the people of South Eleuthera, we are just a sample case. But the land, you're talking about 3,800 acres just in one section. Persons are coming after that, and they don't, the Privy Council told them it's not yours. But I'm going to say something too. May the ancestors join forces with the saints in heaven and the daughters of Zelophehad They got their victory. And all of we women in Saudi Lutra, I'm asking you, if you're listening to me, please go into a sense of prayer and fasting. I'm calling upon the spirit of Esther. I'm calling upon the spirit of Deborah. I'm calling upon the spirit of Hatshepsut.
Yes.
I saw that. I've been there. You
yes.
first introduced it to me.
Yes.
I went and I saw it for
smell it,
myself.
yes.
So all of those names and those forces, please come alive now in spirit and truth and honesty and authenticity, because we are under attack in a very serious way. Because if you could have one or two families or a group of friends get 4,000 acres of people property that's supposed to be for generations, even those yet unborn, that is diabolical.
Yes.
That is diabolical.
Yes.
And so I went with my cousin, Pastor Daphne Mackey Towns, and our cousin Valerie, her sister Valerie Simon. We went to Eleuthera and we blew the shofar. Yeah, so I'm saying that people, there's a lot of things I cannot say because time, but I'm tying it in to what you just said. The graveyard, we went to the graveyard and I called upon the ancestors to please, all the good holy ancestors, the Catholic Church, make sure say the good holy ones, because you got some who are mischievous. Let me tell you something, there's one who I want to call Warren Young. Warren Young had a spirit, oh God, Warren with something else. So
sometimes we need them spirits to deal with the
Warren Young spirit. My dad, Benjamin Manasseh Mackey. I called upon Arthur Brown. I'm calling upon all of those ancestors to please come and help us. The Privy Council already said it's the land of the people, even though just because she put to my heirs and successors and the descendants and my servants forever, she knew what she was saying.
Yes.
There is a thing in law that they brought up during the case. And if you put that, so people, we are here to educate you, do not put it in your will. Even though you can say, now look here, boy, you might go get married to 10 different girls, but this property here, I want this forever and ever in the Higgs name. If I do that, it will become null and void.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so now even though she knew what she was saying, there's a big thing going on now, but it is already gone to the Supreme Court. The Lutra Property Limited was granted the land in terms of that ruling. Then there was an appeal. Then we go into the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal, 2-1, 3 judges. 2 said, yes, it's Lutra property owned. But one said, no, my God, this land belongs to people. My God, look at the affidavits.
Right.
Where the people describing where the old well hole is and where the old house is and where the, look, man, please give this property to people. But 2 rule over 1. And so then it went to the Privy Council. And I really want to thank Cousin Errol McPhee and the Bannerman Town Association at that time for going through to that length and breadth. And sure enough, there were 5 white men, Privy Council, England. I think 3 were sirs and 2 were lords, or the vice versa. But these 5 adjudicated on this matter. And they told Lutra Property, for God's sake, your documents are bogus. This ain't your land. How you get down here? How you get down here? And these people, deep Saudi Lutra.
Right.
But I just want to say to you that the graveyard, we went to the graveyard, Pastor Daphne and I. We honored our ancestors because of what you said, without even realizing what you said. So I didn't know that. Yeah. But we were obedient to do that. And even the Catholic Church, November, we go Book of the Dead, we bring it. And just so you know, that the ancient Kemetic teaching, and you say Tamarid, is thousands of years older than the Roman Catholic churches. I thank you again for bringing that in, because, and what you just did too was to uncover the spiritual matter. Dr. Young will speak, and Dr. Tinker at length about the academic, legal, pedagogical matter. And I like that too, because you need that in court.
Yes.
But I am telling you though, I am asking the people, any person out there, not just Saudi Lutra. Saudi Lutra is a case, it's a landmark case. But any family out there, if you have any land that your ancestors left you, you have to pay homage to them by making sure, get some coconut trees, get some trees, and every weekend You go put down some trees for your marker, get a little bit of fence, even if you get a little bit of fence, and then you fence some here, because fence costs like $5,000-$6,000 to fence around 1 acre property. But there are laws that Dr. Young and Tinker will now talk about that are on the government website. So you go to Bahamas.gov, the laws, they're there.
Good.
But I use the word abeyance. That may not be legally correct, but I call them hidden. They're right there. They've already been passed since 2025 August, but no one's saying anything. Some people don't even know they're there.
Right.
And so I am here as a part of BIOC, which is Alliance, a group of persons, the TUC Union, the unions, the University of the Bahamas, Reparations Committee, Civil Society Bahamas. I work with all of them and the Caffeine International Academy. Our school is exactly the only school that's a part that we teaching this to the children.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to teach future leaders, global leaders, local leaders, national leaders. They need to know about this because we are cringing about some passports.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah.
I cringe too, but then I'm guided by, again, the Roman Catholic Church teaching Archbishop sent a letter that was read in every Catholic church on Sunday. And after I heard that, I knew I couldn't hide because for 10 Sundays before Easter, 10 for sure, I know for sure 7 times each Sunday, they talked about justice, and one was land justice.
Wow.
All right, and so I'm here today just to say that what we are doing is just to sensitize and do advocacy to let you know that you are you talking about your passport. I know, and your voter's card and your sovereignty, but the greatest sovereignty is the land.
Yes.
All
Very
right. And then finally, Dr. Ines, I want to give this to you, but this is Elena Sesma. And you said it, but you didn't know I had this.
No.
But this is the memory and history of South Eleuthera.
Wow.
So this is a research from the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. And she did this in 2018. And you'll see all the burial grounds. And you didn't know this.
Yes, graves are legal
All
witnesses.
the burial grounds,
Yes.
all the old ruins, we call them ruins, but the homes, the artifacts, etc. So I just wanted to say that this meeting, this radio show is in full spiritual synchronicity today.
Yes.
And so I will yield. God bless.
Take a break before Dr. Young and Dr. Tinker chimes in here on 96.9 Guardian Radio today. Of course, we're talking land. We're talking this reality of not just land advocacy, but the reality that there are some things that we have forgotten as a people. And so we're going to strengthen this public awareness regarding land justice reform and reparations in the Bahamas here on Guardian Radio today. I am your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Enius III, also known as Calhoun Anku Sarah. Back after this.
Tall and free. Your power live in your spirituality, not divided, not controlled by the dark. When you know your soul, you know your spark. When a person prays, not for show or gain, but to heal the heart and break old chains. When they sit in silence, listen to the...
When it comes to hearts at Cleveland Clinic, you can't miss a beat. You seek the best care possible, work with the brightest minds, and leave no stone unturned to get to the heart of the matter. Because understanding is all overcoming. For every heart in the world, see how we're advancing the future of heart care at Cleveland Clinic today.
This election night, trust the team you trust every single day. On May 12th, your Guardian radio host will be live from 6 p.m. until the election is called, with verified results, breaking developments, and reporting from the entire Guardian News Network, the teams from Guardian Digital and the Nassau Guardian, every day and every election day. Stay with the Guardian News Network on Guardian Radio 96.9 and Star 106 FM.
The FNM can't agree on anything except attacking everything started by the PLP. Now Michael Pintard is calling for a reset, but it's stop, review, and cancel again. Imagine, new airports, cancelled. School breakfast, cancelled. Upskill, cancelled. The National Youth Guard, cancelled. Energy reforms, cancelled. Their crew would roll back progress. The FNM, not strong enough to lead us forward, but petty enough to drag us back. Paid for by the PLP.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, all day.
You know who you are. You don't fear who they are. No chains can hold a conscious mind. No lies survive when truth aligns. Remember who you are.
And we're back here on Guardian Radio today with your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. Special guest in studio today, Dr. Jacinta Higgs, along with Dr. Bernard Young. And then, of course, we have Dr. Rudolph Tinker, who's a resident guest here on well, any day I'm here, he could pop in, but normally it's a Tuesday. Before we dive back into the show, I just want to make sure that you know that election night, trust the team you trust every single day. On May 12th, your Guardian Radio hosts will be live from the moment the polls close until the election is called, with the Guardian News Network team providing verified results and live reporting from all across the country every day and every election day. Count on the folks you know on Guardian Radio 96.9 and GuardianTalkRadio.com. Also, we want to make sure that you know that I want you to visit Kalina's new Southwest Plaza location today. All right, our walk-in Carmichael location is now in Southwest Plaza, open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. See you soon at Southwest Plaza. That's right, visit Kalina's new Southwest Plaza today. All right, let's jump right back into the show. Dr. Young, you're about to dive into the conversation after what Dr. Higgs had shared, and so I'm going to allow you to do that.
Thank you so very much. Dr. Higgs so eloquently gave a historical underpinning of the right to the land, perspective, also ancestral perspectives, and the fact that when you are tied to something in this sort of way, your soul and spirit have that of your ancestors and future generations all conjoined together in the one place.
Yes.
So you have that word I used in the beginning, you have standing.
Yes.
It's a very important concept. During 2025, 2 pieces of legislation was passed by the Bahamas government, the seated government. And those pieces of legislation, if you would recall, it was also said to you a little earlier that the Privy Council in the UK made a ruling, a decision that debarred and was contrary to the interests of individuals who had interest in acquiring the land. They would be barred from successfully acquiring the land.
Yes.
It's a substantial amount of land. So on the heels of that and that decision, there was 2 pieces of legislation, in particular described as the Land Adjudication Act and the Registered Land Act. Now, these 2 pieces of legislation sought to regularize land and who owns it and the processes by which land would be owned and held and how land title would be held. Unfortunately, through, and I want to be very guarded and very careful in what I say, unfortunately, through the persuasion that we do exist in our country, we could either influence things towards the light or we could influence things towards the darkness. But what has ended up happening in these 2 pieces of legislation, poor persons of means and not of means, are being in many ways marginalized and possibly dispossessed and disenfranchised from access to ownership ultimately because of the hurdles that these two pieces of legislation has now created, which, gives the normal person a very difficult time because most persons won't have the resources, financial resources. They would have access to the land, they would have rights to the land, but won't have the monetary resources to regularize their claims and make them legitimate, even though they've been on the land for many generations. Right. And that is an acute challenge. So I would always think that we would want to ensure, if we do anything, that our people have access to what is theirs.
Yes.
We ought not be doing anything to debar them or frustrate them from having access to the land. And it seems like the way these acts were written, they bypass some very fundamental pathways to that goes against really the Constitution of the Bahamas in many different ways. And the point I want to say, and I want to read this from Article 2 in particular. Article 2 of the Bahamian Constitution says this: the Constitution is the supreme law of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and subject to the provisions of this Constitution, if any other law is inconsistent with this Constitution, this shall prevail, and the other law shall, to the extent of the inconsistency, be null and void.
Okay.
Very important thing. So I would tend to think Articles 15 to Articles 27 preserves and acts as guardrails, preserving the rights and freedoms of the individual.
Okay.
So I would think that any piece of legislation that's written in our country, the first thing you would benchmark it against is the Constitution.
Yes.
That seems very fundamental
That's the DNA of the
to
law.
someone like me.
Yes, the soul of the law.
Okay?
Yes.
You would not make or create any legal pathways that contravene the Constitution or contravene the rights and freedoms of the individual.
Right.
But these two pieces of legislation has done just that in so many ways. I'm going to give Dr. that we could come in and give you more ammunition on those areas where the Constitution is being violated flagrantly.
Wow. Wow. Dr. Tinker. Brother Tinker, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What say you? Go ahead.
No, listen, everything they said, it's point on, and they're talking about this this new land adjudication deal here, which is, again, the Constitution, you have the supremacy clause basically argues that the nothing could trump existing law. If it does, it'll be deemed unconstitutional.
Mm-hmm.
And now you look like the government is somewhat on a land grab to grab up everything and send it back to the crown, because for far too long, families have just had land sitting there and ain't doing nothing with it, which in the government's mind, I could see the reason why they came up with this.
Or don't have the money to do nothing with it.
You have the money to do nothing.
Yeah, ain't like you don't want to do nothing. You can't do nothing. Yes.
I could see they came up with this way to say, we ain't taxing the land. We might as well grab up all this land back and put it in the government place, and then we can find something to do with it. One of the biggest mistakes I thought for the longest time in the Bahamas is that the government should have never built land. Because when you look at the U.S., they passed something called Manifest Destiny about 200-something years ago.
Yep.
And they tell the people, go and take the land west and claim it, it's yours. But we can tax it when you get it.
Wow.
But it's a good deal. The Bahamas could do the same thing to the Bahamian citizens right now. Go on the Family Islands, land that's unclean or not clean, go claim it. Go build something on it, and then we can tax you on it. That's how the government brings in a steady stream of revenue. But now all these lands been sitting there so long, everybody in conversation on the order, boy, I got 5,000 acres. I got 10,000 acres and a hen. I got this. I got But like you say,
Did we lose
you know,
him? Okay, go ahead.
they ain't got no money to do anything with the
Right,
land.
right.
So of course, the government's going to come in and intend to do something. And then in this case that Dr. Higgs brought up, which we'll get in a little more deeper, because you got colonial type, slavery type mentality and don't understand the legal ramification of land ownership. One thing that was very detrimental in the British system and still is existing today is this Quiet Titling Act. The process of which was used, like we say in the Bahamas, to thief your land. You know, to thief your land. So this
Legally thief it.
Legally thief it. This quiet title was so detrimental throughout the British Caribbean Commonwealth that a lot of people that would have inherited land through a will or through being on the land for a long time didn't understand, didn't have the money, didn't have the will of the way, and writers came to install it with the quiet title. When you think you own something, it doesn't get sold 5 times in the court system, and you have no idea. You was never even asked. You never even got a notice. You didn't even read the paper that day was advertising the land.
Wow.
Because it's one of their boys' paper.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
But that's all I have to say on that. As
Well, we got some callers. Let me let some callers chime in here on Guardian Radio today. Caller, you live.
Hey, gracious usual, Uncle. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Thanks for calling.
Well, look here. If you realize how important this topic is right now, you wouldn't believe it. You know how much people has been affected right now in a negative way because of this conversation?
Yeah.
Let me give a prime example what I'm talking about right now, right? Y'all took it far as going south Eleuthera. We have a place in Nassau, Bahamas called Nassau Village. That place in the world to purchase property in, not because environmental reasons, not because economics. The reason is that people in Nassau Village has 3 to 4 different title deeds to the land. How is that even humanly possible? How did they get to that point where you could have 3 to 4 title deeds for one piece of property?
My Lord.
If you go in Nassau Village right now and see a land piece of property, right? Nassau Village now go for almost 70 grand. Who the world anyway? I don't go.
Yeah,
that
no,
way.
I bet you.
But,
yeah,
you see where I come from with that, right? But if you go purchase that right now, right? I guarantee you, someone will pull up a title deed from about 19, probably 40 some or 60 some, to say they own that same piece of property.
Wow.
I guarantee it.
Wow.
How is that possible?
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you right now, right? That this topic is so important because a lot of people get jammed because of this, you know.
Yes.
You can't blame the lawyers. You say, like, oh, well, the lawyers should do a proper title deed for the search. No. Lawyers do research title deeds, and research is probably up to 20, 30, 40, probably 50 years back. Right? Who the hell doing a property search from 1640? You say where I'm from?
Yes, sir.
You can't get them. Think about it.
Yeah.
And people actually have 3 to 4 different title deeds for the same piece of property.
Wow.
We also have, remember we had a time ago of a hard road, without any name, by Ron's on top of the hill. Remember they had a problem years ago
Bosie Towney.
the same piece of property? Yeah. The same thing. People own title deeds to the property, everyone claiming the land.
Wow. I appreciate your comment, brother. Yeah, you definitely exemplifying what it is we're talking about. Calling and we go back into the conversation. Call you live.
Morning, Ango. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Thanks for calling.
All right. We don't agree on much, right? But
we on the same page today.
But when we talk about this neo-colonial framework, this neo-colonial framework, we got to understand that only certain things can come out of a framework. And all this distraction and stuff, this is intentional.
Yes.
I tried to get some generation probably down in Eleuthera. And man, listen here. I had to go jumping through hoops and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And a person who had a last name that was from, boy, this is emotion for me. Who was from the area, who used to be an MP, got 50 parcels, and I couldn't get one. See, this is the kind of stuff that will get on these voters' nerves, you know. You know, as long as we can remember who we are and what we're supposed to have, we have a road ahead. But, you know, but like Dr. Tinker say, if they put it inside a newspaper, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah. If they put in the boy newspaper.
The boy newspaper. Hey, way on the back page, on the inside, on the inside left.
Yeah, put on the white page in white ink.
Put on
the black page with black ink. Thank you so much for calling, man. So, Dr. Higgs, Dr. Young, Dr. Tinko.
Doctor, thank you so very much. You know, sometimes I feel as if I make it much sense or I'm being too intense about something that really ain't worth it, but your calls just affirm for me, so God bless you for saying that, because I'm telling you, I have been stenching from even dealing with it because it's a lot. And as I said, for the past about 10 Sundays before Easter, the readings were about justice for the righteousness, for the poor, for the indigent, for the vulnerable, marginalized, and then one it said land justice. And so I said that to say, I just want to say that it is intentional. Now remember, Britain abolished slavery in 1807. And even though France and Spain and Portugal, all of those different countries were still bringing the slaves over, capturing Africans and bringing them over, if their ship was caught in the Bahamian waters, the British Navy captured and allowed the enslaved Africans to come off. So again, they went to Baintown, and when they hit Nassau, thank God for Kim Houghton Stubbs and the powerful work she and her team, Pate Mendoza, did with regards to Peter Movell's schooner. A lot of them went straight to Fox Hill. So they walked 15 minutes down Easton Road, and they went straight into, so the school, Grant Street and Dorset Street, that's Congo Town. Then you had Nango Town, that's the Yorubas. Many of them went to St. Paul's Church, and then also Zion, Mount Carey. The point I'm saying is that it was very intentional. Remember now, emancipation, they didn't want emancipation because they was living off milk and honey and just riding these islands and riding our backs to get it done, right? And then even when you did have emancipation, they still won't have an apprentice period. They won't apprentice. So they won't wake you free just to say transition them. And some of them still got mad and they made England pay them. And you shared earlier, 2015.
Yeah,
England was paying certain families who was against the abolition of slavery because they said that all of this land. So you imagine Anne Meadows, they willing 3, 4, 5, 6,000, 10,000 acres of land. Wow. And that's just one family. Now, I'm saying that to say, unfortunately, it is very strategic what was being done. Those same Europeans left, many of them left, but they never let sight of the land. So in 1959, and even before that, they came with a strategic way to get the land back. In many of the family islands, you know what they did? Even if they didn't go through the quieting title, because it was so obvious that the people house on the land,
right?
The people graveyard on the
My
land.
Lord.
So then what they did was they went around and they got conveyances. So they gave out bag of rice, some grocery, and some rum.
Wow.
Now my daddy told me that. And over 400 of them signed documents to Ada Wine Davis, even writing Eleuthera. But this was a model, though, that they used all over. So, because one of the callers said strategic. And then another way they got, so they got it through conveyances. And if they couldn't get it through that way, then they leased the land from the Eleuthera and the pineapple fields. Then they employed them. Wow. So they were so happy. Yeah. You know, because they get employed, you're good.
And a job.
On the job.
Yeah.
You know, you get a little cannon factory, different things. So but then when the lease was over, many of who had already died, they also wait you out.
Okay.
So in our case, they waited until my daddy died, Warren Young died, all of them died, but one was still living, one is still living. So I just want to give love to Uncle Kyle Nixon in Neutral. They were shocked when they found out.
He was still there.
When we went to the Supreme Court in 23, they said, I said, Honorable, my uncle want a copy of the Zoom link so he could chime in. You adjudicating on the matter. And he's an adverse claimant. So then someone look at me and say, he's alive? One is still alive?
Good.
They thought all was there. So I said, no, one's still alive.
Wow.
And so Uncle Kyle, God bless you, because right then and there, the case was adjourned, and I ain't see them since.
Wow.
But it ain't finished yet.
No.
Man, I know if you all
Wow.
understanding what I
They still
saying,
waiting.
They're going to wait us out.
Yeah.
They're going to wait. And their children and their estates will wait us out. That's where they go through. Their companies, their estates, their firms will wait us out. And so now I'm 60 years old. Since I was 15, I used to go down to Eleuthero during my summer breaks so I could go with my sister Joy, Emily Brown, and have fun. Daddy used to have me going around to the old people writing down information. 60 now, man.
Wow.
And my two children have no understanding of this. So I have to now train them, write documents, put things together so that they can know. And so in the spirit of what you said, you started this call talking about graveyard.
That's right.
I want to say God bless cousin Monica, who just lost her young son, Seth. Seth is supposed to have had a piece of property out with his house and his home. Sasha just died. Margaret Mackey. These are cousins. My God, it ain't fair, man.
No.
For someone from Nassau, just because they high-ranking, to go in thief land. Cat Williams say P. Diddy used to like to party, and you gotta tell him no.
Yes.
Snakes want come thief our land sharks, want take the property. You got to tell them no.
That's right.
So in the honor of all of those family members who have died, this is a serious thing, man.
Wow.
By 60.
Wow. I getting some messages here. People saying exactly what you're saying. Text come through. Let me try to get to this call before we wrap for the break. Call your live.
Hey, good day. Uncle, and to your panel.
Yes. Good day.
I can't say anonymous no more because I mean a lot of people has called me and say they hear my voice. So
you don't know there.
I'm talking for a friend.
Okay.
So this friend went during the COVID research, went to the archives, all the family history, like Dr. Higgs had mentioned earlier, and the slave owner left in the will all of the descendants. So the family name is carried on to today. And in a particular island, in a particular settlement, there's quite a few of acres, in 1,000.
Wow.
So when the family went to go inquire the title, lo and behold, there's a title that was quieted by another family who everybody knows, who is a big real estate company, I won't call a name,
Right.
who is known for doing this type of deal. And I'll tell you exactly what they do. In 1967, the land was quieted from the slave master to the particular owner of the company. But the slave master done dead for almost 200, 300 years.
My Lord.
So how could they be quieting a generational property from a dead man? And the title is the only thing that's holding up the process in passing it on to the rightful owners. And I went online, went on a forum, and we found out that this is a normal practice. To this day, this family has thrived and opened up a real estate company and has land all over the Bahamas on every island, selling the land.
Yes, sir.
And when you would email them and say, "Can I see the title? Can I see the conveyance? Can I see the survey?" There's no answer. You have to bring cash. So most of the land is going to the foreigners. And then when the foreigner takes the deed or the title to the registrar, that's when they do the cleanup. So the Constitution might be the Constitution, but the system is corrupt. Because if you are paying and then you go into the government office who's supposed to clear it up and say, hey, this title could not have possibly been quieted or could not have been conveyed because we have a law in place that says it has to be generational or so-and-so. So even if that is the case, and they say, okay, you could take it to the Supreme Court, then you could take it to the Privy Council, and then the Privy Council tell you no. Knowing that the law states otherwise, it has to be a racket It's a mob. It's a mafia.
Mafia.
Where no matter what you do, we could pray to the ancestors and all that. We could come together as a community.
We better become the ancestors. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah, it's a rocket.
They dealing with the ancestors.
Yeah, we have to take some more odds where we just go on the land, like the community, what they're doing now in the States, is people just coming together, 50, 60 people, and they just going on the land, they planting, they building the soil.
Yes.
Just go there and cohabitate.
Yes.
You don't have to do nothing else. You ain't need no papers, nothing. If you want to do it, just go, get your people together and start building and forget about the land and deeds. And maybe in some 2, 3, 4 generations from now, we can fix it. But just wanted to let you guys know.
Powerful. And the thing about it is, the people are still there. Yes. You don't have to guess whose land it is. So I hear what you're saying. I just don't want people to be irresponsible and say they're going to go and take people's land. You can go and talk to the people. You understand? This is not some land is never owned in an abstract way. We just read that earlier. So people know who the land belongs to. But the colonial system still has a grip on us. Go ahead, Dr. Young.
And some of us accommodated through having a colonial mentality.
This show today is very, very important. We're only through the first half of it. We got to go to the news. We got to pay some bills. But when we come back, there's a texter and Dr. Higgs, Dr. Young, Dr. Tinker. I want us to touch this when we come back. They said, please, sir, can you ask your guest to explain the difference between commonage, crown land, and generational land? Yes, so we're going to touch that when we come back and more here on Guardian Radio today. Keep it locked.
They rule. Our economy in ruins. Job prospects dried up. Hundreds of millions spent on no-bid contracts. Illegal immigrants flooded our communities. Our schools and hospitals broken. And healthcare unaffordable. Now they want 5 more years. If they get it, our future, our Bahamas, is gone. Under the FNM, that changes. Because they know their job is to work for you, not the few.
Every job I've had, I've learned something invaluable. When I was in construction, my brother made us look for the screws and the nails in the dirt because your job could be held up. One of the sayings was, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean. You are always on the clock. Economy means better jobs, more money in people's pocket, and a real comeback. And our team will work every day to make it happen.
This message was paid for and authorized by the Free National Movement.
Beulah gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood. We now large and in charge. So we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too? Of course we can. But we could be in deep trouble if they find out. We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami. So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles. Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal. So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
5 years. We struggle as they rule. Our economy in ruins. Job prospects dried up. Hundreds of millions spent on no-bid contracts. Illegal immigrants flooded our communities. Our schools and hospitals broken. And healthcare unaffordable. Now they want 5 more years. If they get it, our future, our Bahamas, is gone. Under the FNM, that changes. Because they know their job is to work for you, not the
job I've had. I've learned something invaluable. When I was in construction, my brother made us look for the screws and the nails in the dirt because your job could be held up. One of the sayings was, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean. You are always on the clock. The FNM knows a strong economy means better jobs, more money in people's pocket, and a real comeback. And our team will work every day to make it happen.
This message was paid for and authorized by the Free National Movement.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
Remember your light. You are built from love, not fear or fright. Build yourself up brick by brick inside. When spirits awake, there's no place to hide. Remember who you are, stand tall and free. Your power live in your spirituality, not divided, not controlled by the dark. When you know your soul, you know your spark.
And we're back here on Guardian Radio today with your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Wienius III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah, strengthening public awareness regarding land justice, reform, and reparations in the Bahamas. Our special guests today, Dr. Jacinta Higgs, Dr. Rudolph Tinker, and Dr. Bernard Young. Before we went to the break, we had a question from a texter. I'm going to dive right into that. Just explaining the three types of land: commonage, crown land, generation land, and then we want to even add private land. So, Dr. Young, I think you wanted to tackle that?
Yes, I'm going to explain it in very simplistic terms so that it could be grasped readily. Commonage, we hear the term. It's normally referring to land held collectively by a group of individuals. Usually they're the descendants of the original grantees.
Okay.
No single person has full title of any specific parcel.
Okay.
Commonage is held in common.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Crown land, as a text, refers to land owned by the state on behalf of the people. So that's a very fundamental truth. What it's really saying is all the crown land belong to the Bahamian people. The government is only a trustee of the land.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
But they don't own it.
Right.
But they act like they do. And it's because the guardrails in our country, the systems and the institutions made up of men and women don't say what they need to say and make
the say, hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah, and make the made. That is a serious challenge for us.
Yeah.
We allow our rights to be trampled because those persons that should represent the guardrails and the interest of the people ain't interested in that.
Because listen, when you watch these rallies, right? People struggling in this country, and they run here dancing and singing.
Yes.
I've heard people say that they cringing watching some of these rallies because people hurting, people living in their car, people living in the street. You understand? And we run here singing and dancing, and we ain't talking about these types of issues.
The real issues.
Just a bunch of distractions.
The nuts and bolts issues of our people for 50 plus years. See, that's what's egregious, at least for me.
Yes.
The fact is, we've had so many successive administrations that had the opportunity to fix it.
And so obviously they don't want to fix it. Clearly they don't want to fix it.
And it's just a good ride. That's what it is. So, we're in a quandary right now unless there is some...
But we educating the people, and that's important. We have to educate the people. Go ahead.
And then the generational land, which was the other one, it's family-owned land, passed down informally, often without a formal deed or clear individual title.
Okay.
So we have this this situation, this condition that needs a permanent fix, and who is in a better position to fix it than our governments.
I just want to say, and then in our case, in Eleuthera, Ann Miller, that's private land.
Okay.
Yes.
That's Ann Miller, her brothers, her dad, they all left it to her. And then she willed it to the slaves who who helped her make her brothers and daddy millionaires.
Right.
So she wanted to give it back to them.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, to this day, they're going to say there's an old English law that say because she put the word, she want them to enjoy it forever.
Perpetuity.
They're saying
that
that
ain't
no.
the devil.
Yes, sir. Yes,
My
sir. It's
Lord.
diabolical.
Come on.
Now, coming out of this, now there's CARICOM and reparations. I am so happy that the Ghana's president went to United Nations, and that resolution is coming out with regards to slavery being one of the greatest atrocity against humans. Now, coming on the heel of that is something called CARICOM. So just like how those white colonialists got monies from England because slavery was abolished.
Right.
And they saying our land and our business and our future. So now we are saying that, and we've always been saying it. I went to CARICOM in 2007 with Dr. Thaddeus MacDonald, God rest his soul. And we met with the leaders down there, and we were talking about the CARICOM. There's a 10-point plan. So those of you who are interested, you really should go and see it, so that when Dr. Nyambi Campbell and Dr. Hamilton, they were, and Gaynell Curry, they had a powerful, and Dr. Chris Curry, a powerful radio webinar. So once you see them begin to come out, you have to know what to say, what to ask them, and what to tell them. Now, one thing I'm saying is, you see this CARICOM in there too? They are saying the crown is the queen, which is now the king. So our government should not take your property. It's written in this act. I'm talking about thousands of words, but one line that you would overlook. It says, if your land ain't registered, if you ain't on it, even if you own it, and you get papers, but let's say some died or some living in the States. Let's say you living down there in Eleuthera and you on one part of the land. You told the caller you ain't got no money to develop it right now. But not only that, Monsignor Preston Moore said you shouldn't go hog up all the land. Say because you have to think through eyes yet unborn. You should. There should be parcels of that in gradation, in stages, where some you should never touch. Because that's the environment and ecosystem. So I'm saying that to say they intentionally. There's a lady in this book. She said the day when they took Bannerman Town School and closed it down, and the children had to be bused to Wims's Bite and then Roxanne, she wrote in her Bible, "Ah, well, God, Bannerman Town gone dead."
Wow.
She saw it spiritually because she was saying, let them bring back the school for their life. So they took the best teachers and they had the common entrance exam and they brought them over here to GHS or to schools. There's the best of the brains of the family. Wow. Dr. Mavis Thompson, Canetta Ferguson, those are some of them. Even Warren Miller, in terms of that that group. And so they brought them away from their land. Some of them never went back because their livelihood was here. So they never intentionally developed the land.
Wow.
When hurricanes came and the land got mashed up with the farms, they never gave them money to reactivate the land. If there was a fire and the land burned up. So people slowly but surely began moving away from the land. So they're trying to say you did not occupy the land uninterruptedly, straight through. And so then they moved the businesses. There were no businesses there. Understand? And then water, some Bannerman Town and Waterford just getting water. I have pictures of it. And I feel badly about it because it's only a 4-inch pipe. By the time that run from Mims's Bite down to them, I saw it. I have pictures of it, 4-inch pipes. But the point is they're getting some water right now, and we're very grateful for that. But the point is they're just now getting the water after people begin to agitate. But again, people begin to move out of those areas. And so now you have been removed from your land. You have to go on the contract. One woman said when they go on the contract, say many of the people from Bannerman Town, this is in the book, this is written, the research, many of them live in the diaspora, they call it, in Florida, in Orlando. They went away and they never came back. And so now, unfortunately, as the land was just there, like Dr. Dingus say, sitting there, ain't sitting there. Come on, man. I ain't sitting there. That is getting ready for when the generations were tired of the United Kingdom. They tired of Germany.
Yes.
And they will come back home.
That's
Our
their
children.
land. Yes.
And our children should that's their land.
Mhm.
That's in the Disney down there enjoying it. My God, I went to Disney too. By the way, boy, I never see Minnie and Mickey dance like that. They dance with Junkanoo. And I ain't care what. They look like Minnie and Mickey, right?
But you know in there.
Two black people under there. Man, look at they were shaking up. I was so happy to be there. You understand? It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But man, come on now. Bit of them in businesses now to try and make some money. So yeah, man. It's diabolical. It's evil.
Yeah.
What is happening. And so I pray to God, people, this is important. Number one, the two acts are right there hiding. Many lawyers I spoke with did not know that the acts were passed. They were passed in August 2025 when people were on vacation. That's number one. There are two of them. Number two, the surveyors are saying that they are not ready for the volume of what this tribunal. They set up a tribunal and they didn't want us to go to court no more. Man, I know if you understand. So if you go to court, right, Supreme Court, one judge will adjudicate on you. And she say, that's what she did. She give it to a company that wasn't there. So then they go on to Court of Appeal and 3 judges. Okay, they still say, okay, yeah, give it to the same person who didn't know that. But then we go on to the Privy Council. The Privy Council, oh my goodness, what decision y'all was using? You understand what I'm saying? And then but now the point is, just so people listening, the Privy Council did not give it to the locals either. Some of them, they had to show, again, the occupation. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're trying to say, you have to show me your house or show me your fence. So persons, listen please. The Surveyors Association just reinstituted themselves. They're going to South Africa and they're asking for assistance. I think about 20-some of them. They're also taking students from the University of Bahamas and professors because that's an internationalization. They also want to see if they can get international funding so that they can help survey your land with you paying little or nothing. That's number one, because you're going to have to survey the land. So, because this tribunal, which is made up of, I think, one lawyer or minister could pick. My God, from Zion, that's wrong.
Yes.
Come on, man.
Yes.
Come on, man. And lawyers and even judges, they are appointed.
Yes.
By the government of the day. So therefore, sometimes you wonder if you're getting your fair share. Even the man in which who wrote this law. Someone asked us to call names, but Charlene Smith, man, wrote this law. It's public.
Yes.
Because her father, Frankie Wilson, was bragging. He celebrated that his daughter was chairing this act. That's conflict of interest.
Yes, it is.
That's conflict of interest because that family was the one that went to the Privy Council and the Privy Council said, it's not yours. They said no. But then you come back and you cheering the act that is saying if you don't have so people, if you don't have no fence, some of y'all can't afford it because I can't afford the fence that land that my daddy was claiming with his great granny. If you go get some trees, the quiet title likes to put little signs around there, then you have to register it. So you're going to need an attorney to help you in terms of doing the registration for it. If not, if they die without a will or with a will, you have to probate it. You have to probate it. They were using small technical things to deny people their rights of their land. My God, even a pastor, Father Moultrie, my God, was able to say, James Moultrie, that's his people. He was able to give affidavits upon affidavits. He said, I know these people all my life. You see a 70, Augusta Young, these 80-year-old people giving testimony before the courts, saying that it's their land. They was farming it. Their grandparents was farming it. Their houses was right there where you could see it. And you can say that in the people's land. Man, that's evil, man.
Yes, it is.
That's evil. And so therefore you have to get a letter of administration if you don't have these things. Because what is happening is they're going to come to you. They even ain't grandfathering it. They even ain't telling you that they coming to your island. And when they show up to your door, Dr. Ince, I don't care how much property Dr. Cleveland is the first left for you and your family. If you all ain't follow that, I am telling you, there's one line. It says it will be turned over to the crown.
Right. What is...
Back to 1834.
Yes.
My Lord.
What is egregious, too, is that the Land Adjudication and Registered Land Act, right, fly in the face of Articles 20 and Articles 28, which guarantees the protection of law to every citizen of the Bahamas. Constitution guarantees your right to have disputes decided by a court of law, appointed tribunal.
My Lord.
See, that is the conflict right there. Okay? And it surprises me, honestly, just as a normal Bahamian, that people who are lawyers don't weigh their legal ideas and concepts against the Constitution because they believe we would never check it.
Yeah.
And then
challenge it.
And then the system seemed to foster and feed on itself by supporting wrong.
Yes.
Right? We have no guardrails. Our systems and our institutions that ought to have stood up and cried to high heaven, afoul, have not spoken because it's all commingled and intertwined together, like I said earlier, towards darkness, not light, to disenfranchise you people. Something is very wrong with that kind of a system. Consequently, the Acts replaces the access to the traditional court with a tribunal hearing your case or your claim. The court, if you have anything in court that's unfinished, once the tribunal is meeting, the court matter is stayed.
What?
That is egregious
Yeah.
to the Constitution.
So the court could be hearing you.
Hearing a
Once
matter.
the tribunal jump in, we ain't hearing you no more.
It stops. It stops.
The book of Isaiah, I got to read this verse because it's just crying at them in my spirit to read this verse. And I always read it on the show. Isaiah 9, verses 9 and 10. Isaiah chapter 29, verses 9 and 10. This is what they've done to us. Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. Verse 10 says, For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, hath he covered. These people have poured a spirit of deep sleep upon us.
The traditional institutions, the Bar Council, the Christian Council, in many instances, the very organizations in our country that ought to be watchdogs for this kind of thing are silent.
Sleeping or complicit. Either way.
Silent.
Let's go to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Call you live.
Yes, good afternoon to you and your guests. Sorry for being late, very, very late in joining in.
Yes.
But I've caught a gist of where you're leading to things.
Sure.
First of all, there is families in the Bahamas that collects death certificates and obituaries for the sake of supposedly for what they call history or whatever. But what it does is it allows them to trace survivors of properties and to see when there's no one left or who's connected, who's related to who. And so that has been done for at least the 25 years I've been home.
That's what you're saying. They wait you out.
I noticed that, right. I noticed that companies they're associated with, when I go back, I do data analytics and analysis. I go back and I see some court cases that actually bring up names and families that was in those when it's almost as if though all ties to these particular properties cease to exist. Secondly, one of the things that is happening right now, and I'm going to try not to make this political, but you're absolutely correct concerning the land. But the greatest shift, if not the final shift of wealth, is happening around the world. And you can make a note of these, right? Many people know it as the cryptocurrency economy. But a broader eyes on top of that is a crypto economy. But the baseline of these is what they call blockchain. And it's a concept, you could Google this. This is the most important one. And you hear Donald Trump, them talking about the Genius Act and the Clarity Act and these other different things. And you have the global banks. I want you to listen to this carefully. You have the central banks of the world fighting back about what is about to happen, and that's the tokenization economy. But overlaid upon that is called the tokenized economy. These are future state, end state economies that I'm talking about. The funny thing about it is the Bahamas was the first in the world to lay the groundwork for it with the DARE bill in 2020. But we are good at starting things, not very good at stopping. The reason I say that is that you have the ability, every single Bahamian have the ability to print their own money that the central bank must recognize because it's become asset-based. And this is what I've tried to talk to for months amongst this. And this is where one political point in October 25th or 15th of last year when they introduced the data protection bill. The word data is no longer the way we think of it. It includes intellectual property, it includes land, and includes any record in our considered data. And so there's a move of, call them oligarchs, whatever it is, to control the world because AI becomes the facilitator. AI is data, data is AI. And the point I make is that because we are God-placed in a geolocation and first movers again in economy of travel, tourism, and hospitality, which is one of the first gateways. And this is where you see the oil nations. Pay attention to this too. The nations who are building the oil are moving toward hospitality and to tourism.
Saudi
because
Arabia
this
now,
becomes the first gateway
Dubai.
of the whole new tokenized economy. And now, think about the economy as you know it is in the world. And you could Google this yourself. It is already estimated the value by the end of 2025, which just passed, will be $393 trillion.
Which economy is that?
$393 trillion. Okay?
The token economy? That's what you're talking about?
The tokenized economy.
Yes. Wow.
See, so what I'm simply saying is this. Let's use an example. You have a piece of property or you want to acquire a piece of property. And this is where ideas are also, the intellectual property comes in. And in that speech in the House of Assembly, respectfully, that was presented by Michael Pintard to push toward incorporating all of this as part of the data economy, but it was almost violently rejected by this current administration, is that you want to enter the tourism industry, as an example, and you need $1 million. If you go to the bank, they require 20%. If you go to the tokenized economy, you only need to prepare a token or of the property or piece of paper, and then find 1,000 people who would buy into the idea that you're doing $1 million for a fourplex that could be rented for $2,500 or $3,000 a week, $2,500 a week, which is $10,000 a week. So you got $500. Remember, now you just borrowed $1 million, and you say to them, "I'll give you 20% return on your money. I'll give you 10% return on your money," and this is backed by hard real estate. Guess what happens? Let's say you offer them the high end of 20%. I just told you how you will take in $500,000 a year of piece of asset that you now have constructive control of. And you know what you could do with the rest of the $300,000? You could start buying back those tokens from those individuals, so the 20% return will be given to you. So within 5 to 7 years, you will own that asset all themselves, and they have made their 20% or whatever return on it. This is just one small aspect of it.
Right.
This is why when
I got some other callers here.
just one point. This is why when you say that I say there's no one in the Bahamas who cannot be financed for home except those under 18 and is dead because they cannot legally sign a contract. Because once you understand this economic power, you will not only own the Bahamas, but the Bahamas will invade the Caribbean and other places because you have the knowledge to spread out and possess the land, yours and the region. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Wow. Let me go to this call and then we'll jump back into the conversation. Caller, you're live.
Good day, Uncle.
How you doing?
Good day to the doctors.
Yes, sir.
Blessings.
Dr. Jacinta Higgs. Were you one time the Registrar General?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir. I think it's another Jacinta. No, sir.
Okay. That's why I asked.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I'm enjoying the conversation in reference to the land issues. And you said that the Privy Council made this ruling on what day? In the South Eleuthera case with
2018. Eleuthera Properties Limited versus Panama Town Association. 2018 Privy Council.
the Privy Council ruling.
Yes, sir.
Because I had followed that case. McKinney Turner and Co. argued that case, right?
That is correct. Yes, sir. For Tom Miller, the McKinney family. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. I appreciate that. Well, I call in because that I dealt with properties belonging to my generation in Fortune Hills in Salvador, where they wanted to dig for gold. If anyone of y'all remember that. You see?
Wow. Yes,
and Chief Justice Michael Barnett handed down his ruling on the 29th of January 2015. You see? Well, 4 lawyers, I successfully argued that matter. But and I appreciate what y'all saying in reference to the general public about the history of the land and the historical documents, because this land adjudication bill and the Quieting Act is something which seems to be misleading or whatever is egregious and contrary to the Constitution. On the 30th of January 2013, the Privy Council said in the case of Oceana Heights that you can check the ruling that Quieting Act can be used to steal land. So for everybody that's listening, I call in to let people know when they talk about squatters, because Chief Justice Michael Barnett was the one that gave his ruling in the Supreme Court, my case, which I said was handed down on the 29th of January 2015, if you want to check the records. And and I appreciate some of the reference y'all said about the historical documents, because I have another friend who's talking about historical material related to the family, the Finlaysons, who own land all over Nassau and most of that land there in the back, Gladstone Road and Carmichael Road. And administrations keep saying it's Crown land, but the historical deeds to these documents, and there are people that exist from these families and generations. So, I'm appreciating the conversation, and y'all, continue on.
Yes, sir. Thank you so very much.
And so the 2018 ruling from the Privy Council. So what happened is companies were trying to use the Quieting Title Act of 1959 to gain this land, and the documents were so bogus. The Privy Council, they even called one of the groups, "You are of recent vintage," and meaning you just reach. You could see you're concocting these things. I mean, the ruling, they annihilated persons have been for. Now, I'm saying that to say, and at the end, they said, not be used to give titles to y'all in this case. And so the 2 lawyers jump up and say, well, what you just leaving our land vacant? You want anybody from anywhere to come and put up fence and take the land? So they said that is not our intention. The Bahamas government will have to get wise and review this to see how they can get the land to the people that deserve it. And unfortunately, sir, that's 2018. In 2025, persons who were in that case, representing people in that case, lawyers, came back home, and then they went and devised 2 acts that again will egregiously affect us.
Right.
Beautiful in many ways, but 1 or 2 little needle in the haystacks were put in those acts that could really, when they say land grab, this ain't gonna be no land grab. This can be a wipeout, and it's not. It's diabolical, because Dr. Cleveland in his opened the show talking about the relationship of the dead. Who you said at that point it's the beginning.
That's right.
It's the beginning. You understand? And so therefore it's a beginning for their legacy, for their heritage. Someone said, what about the succession? And so that's another thing again. You talked about commonage, generational, land. You have to train these people on how to give the land to their children, so that, okay, for God's sake, now, if you let them come do to you again, you deserve to get what you get. So therefore, where is the course? Where is the curriculum that shows families how to do this properly? Because I am telling you, I could see some Bahamian daddy saying, this is my daughter property, what I can leave for you. And any man who come, it's yours forever and ever. And just so you know, if a woman take a man into her marital home or into her home, he gets half or he gets some of that.
Wow.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So again, yes, sir, just the teaching is necessary, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Higgs.
Yes, sir.
You're referring to what they did in August of last year with in Parliament with the land adjudication bill, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I followed that also, and these administration and people do things for political, financial, and legal gain, which is trickery on all of the three bases, and the word chicanery means just that, for those three reasons. Most of the time it's swayed, and we have an election on Tuesday, so we have to, step up. And what you're saying with them misleading people, and many people will be given paper, and this land push will always be an issue, because, and what Dr. Young had said earlier, if it's contrary to Section 2 of the Constitution, whatever laws they pass will be, will be dismissed or rebound.
Yeah. And I just want to say the Crown, because of CARICOM and also reparations, Ghana just went to the that's one of the biggest things that have happened, my God, in 500-600 years. So because of that, and now dealing with reparations, one of the number one things, we need to go back and revise those two laws and move Crown.
Yes.
It's no more the king. Because the king is now saying that we enslaved you all, we damaged you all, we took you all from your home. And so therefore, as a part of the reparation movement, they got to move on out of those two acts.
Amen.
We move because it just happened. All countries voted on that. And so therefore, that's what we're trying to do. CARICOM, the reparations movement, tied to what is happening here. Right now, churches, Catholic churches all over the world, and Methodist, Lutheran churches are giving back people thousands of acres of land. They went back, the Catholic Church went back and gave the Indians, the Native American Indians, back their lands, because there's a movement. They recognize that there has to be a divine alliance with regards to rectifying and healing. You said it, but you didn't know I had this book.
No.
Healing the memory. You said that when you first started.
Yes.
We have to heal the memory.
Yes. My heart is real. We're going to run to a break here on Guardian Radio today and be back. Keep it locked.
A woman who's fully whole, 'cause we can't be led by empty promises they fade. Remember who you are, remember your light. You are built from love, not fear or fright. Build yourself up brick by brick inside. When spirits awake, there's no place to hide. Remember who you are, stand tall and free.
The world is changing. It's bringing new challenges, but also new opportunities. The truth is, our economy always left too many Bahamians out. Now we're opening new doors in agriculture, tourism, energy, entrepreneurship, providing grants, scholarships, national service, and upskilling. A new generation is rising, and we're finally moving in the right direction, building an economy that includes everyone.
Paid for by the PLP.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
You try to rest, but roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers. For window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it, just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361. Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
When you heal, you can't be led by empty promises they fade. Remember who you are, remember your light. You are built from love, not fear or fright.
And we're back here on Guardian Radio today with your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III. And we're having a very important conversation about land rights, about reparations, and about really just making sure that we, the Bahamian people, are aware of our rights. All right? Any government that we elect works or should work for us. But I think we don't understand that. I think we've been so busy just, getting T-shirts and whatever else we may be handing out that the very land is right underneath our feet could be sold or taken away from us. And so that's why this show is very important. Our special guest today, Dr. Jacinta Higgs, Dr. Bernard Young, Dr. Rudolph Tinker. Dr. Tinker, I know you've been just listening for most of the show, but I want to hear from you, man. You still there? All right, this is me.
I wanted them to go ahead and get their points out.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, basically in this situation, this is one of the reasons why the government and successive governments have not put in a land registry as yet, because, when things are chaotic, it's easier to steal. Because for the life of me, I don't understand, why you can't put in something so vital and important like that, that people need it. For example, here in the U.S., if I would want to buy a piece of land and you tell me that your name is Anku Sarah and that you own this property, we'll look you up and see when you bought it, when the person who you bought it from, they bought it all the way back to 150 years.
Right.
Online, instantly.
Right.
And that's practically anywhere 50 states. So I don't know what it is the problem why the government chose not to do this. Because when you look at it, and I always ask myself this, you got independent from England in 1973. Where did all this, that there had to have been a land grab pre-73 and post-73, but more pre-73, because how in the world that I see some of these real estate agents could sell an entire key or a little island? Where they got it from? Think about this now. Where black people here owning all this land? Where are some of these real estate agencies getting this land to sell it from? So there had to be tons of quiet title done in the country prior to independence, or the first administration was complicit that they allowed it to happen even under them. Because how in the world could, if the government don't own the land, who could sell a whole key? And think about this now, because even if you were a British citizen prior to independence and the Bahamian government got independence, they were supposed to went and investigate every single piece of property, whether it was going to be turned over to them or a new Bahamian that would have gotten Bahamian got Bahamian citizenship under the new government. So it's just amazing to me that no government since 73 to today would want to put a land registry in place so you could show we got the legal terminology, but you could show the chain reaction, so to say, or the key linkages to where this property would have came from.
Yeah.
So the less you know, it keeps you in the shade, and you hoping when you buy this land and you build this house that no one come and contest. Boy, look here, that property ain't yours, right? Even though you just built a house on it. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy,
in my opinion. It's ridiculous.
Crazy. Dr. Young.
Yes, the point I wanted to accentuate is the fact that the tribunal now supplants and takes the place of the court system.
What kind of kangaroo nonsense this is they doing around here, man?
And
they want to drag you down the alley and whisper down with a flashlight on and call that law? Come on, man.
It stops, as I said earlier, any case going on connected to land in the traditional court system, it stayed, it stopped.
It takes it out of the infrastructure.
Yeah, but directly offends what was done. Directly offends the Constitution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Consequently, if you bypass the traditional court system, which has appeals,
Yes.
which could go higher
Yes.
to the Privy Council,
Yes.
you're taking out ever again the possibility of anything connected to land hitting the Privy Council level to be properly adjudicated.
Yes. So now you're circumventing justice.
Yes, land.
So consequently,
right?
Consequently, the court case at Privy Council level of 2018 was so repugnant to the present individuals that the system had to be jimmied.
Yes.
What scares me is you could have that power to fix an entire system to work in your favor. That's what we have fallen to.
Yes.
And our lips are silent.
No more. Not today on 96.9 Guardian Radio today. We can't be silent. Call you live.
Hey, Uncle, good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
My brother, and good afternoon to your guest in studio. I think this conversation is one that is long overdue.
Yes.
You know, it amazes me that when you talk about land, when you talk about the Quieting Titles Act, when you talk about even getting access to any parcels of land in certain parts of not just New Providence, but the Bahamas as a whole, it's always the same names come up from persons who claim that they own these lands. And you know, it baffles many persons, how is that even possible? You know, and I'm talking about just about on every island. I won't even think, or the permission of persons who are not Bahamians are selling Bahamian land back to Bahamians as well as even foreigners. You know, it
shouldn't be.
It really baffles the mind how the systems, and you know, a lot of persons will come on, perhaps speak on radio and say, hey, it's the systems that we have in place. But the thing is, the lawyers in this country know how these systems are. And the other persons who may know a lot about the Constitution, they know how these things work. But these legislators would not go in and try to close a lot of the loopholes that allow these things to happen. And, you know, the sad part to this whole thing in closing is that, you know, many of the lay persons, in other words, the small people on the ground, we are quite aware of what's going on. And when we try to get the actions done to either get these things adjudicated, these matters closed, get the loopholes closed, so we can have some type of normalization and fair play for the small man that get access to land with no help here to help anybody to do these things. And again, it comes back down to the legal profession, because even if you were to do it right now, for instance, my family, you know, we have land in Ackland's Crooked Island, we have land in Long Island, we got land even in Eleuthera. And, you know, to go and pay these high prices just to protect the land.
Right.
You know, you have to make sure that the deeds are done properly.
Yes,
you got to make sure that everything is accounted. If not, if you miss a step, it means that you got to start all over, pay all kind of monies again, which you don't have, just to secure the land that was left for you for generations. So, you know, like I said, this conversation is one that must continuously be had until we can actually get our people to understand what's happening right under their noses while we sit here playing politics every day. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you so very much. Next caller you live.
Hey, boy, how you doing?
Hey, great, man. Thanks for calling.
Listen here. We got to get to the creation of the modern and they showed the £5 lots.
Say that again loud.
We actually had the, we created our modern voting thing on this £5. You had to own property as to vote.
Mm-hmm.
I think a whole topic on the £5 lot need to be need to be dealt with. But I think, but there's one thing that I think that is missing from this conversation.
What?
The American Revolutionary War.
What about it?
When that law happened, the most of the major land grants in our country happened after that war. Land went to it's the loyalists and the royalists. Okay, so a whole bunch of the things about who owns the land, is traced back to to the separation of America from the English crown. And I think we've got to dig a little deeper into that, but still, even though all this happened, we still have a exercise of eminent domain.
Right.
That is kind of fraudulent. In the applications and how, because it's like the person's it's like folks are trying to get a land for free.
Trying.
Okay,
You're doing it.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying.
I am being euphemistic.
I got you.
Uncle.
I
can't say.
I know.
I can't say it like that.
Yeah, I bet you.
Okay?
I bet you.
Okay, but now I'm now. Anyway, between the two, I believe at least two of the guests should get together and write some kind of treatise on how the modern vote came about. And the irony is that folks actually were like trying to find persons pre-UBP to actually buy lots in order for them to vote.
Okay, I gotcha.
Okay, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do some of the historical linkages because I noticed I started from even 1807 from the abolition.
Yes.
So, sir, I really appreciate how you helped me to put in some key information in there. And I want to say that you mentioned that they're trying to get the land free. They are trying to get the land free, but every death of a young Bahamian man or woman from any family island, before they are able to realize getting on their land, they are getting the land on the debts of those generations who owned the land, who worked the land, who went off to school while their parents continued to, or the parent got ill or sick. And so I'm saying that to say, again, I have to keep bringing in the spiritual nature. I did not start with that. Uncle Sarah, you started it, and I want to end my conversations with it. Everyone who is listening, if you are as grieved as I am telling you, I believe in the power of the Most High Creative God. God will give us wisdom. He will send people along. He will send the money. He will send the information that we need. He will send the lawyers who will come and give gratis services in terms of advice and counsel. And so this is important for us as a country. If any of you have land out there, I'm telling you, whether you know you buy just land passing bush and bush and bush, that bush belongs to some people, man. But you have to now just go get couple signs, put the signs up, but more importantly, you have to read in the hole. Your tail is covered. So some of them may not even own it. The young boy said it several calls earlier. When the people who owned the land went to go and deal with it, they found out that another family had already registered it. And so just so you know, that is a trick. And I no disrespect to Lands and Survey because I've been going there over the years. I'm 60, definitely 21. I was going there with my dad. And I went there recently last year, and something has happened there. A spirit of darkness. It's been gutted, and they are ferociously playing games with you to frustrate you because you can't get nothing out of there. It wasn't like that. When you went and you presented the information, several things, who did the survey or who did this or what map number it is, you were able to get some service. Sometimes it was a little long before you get the printed map, but you got things. Now, that's a dark graveyard shell. Now, I know some of the things went to OPM to deal with the Crown land, but something and that's why some of the surveyors are saying, even with these two acts, they were not prepared well enough to even help us, as we're going to need the help, because you will need a survey plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I want to say this too. The previous caller talked about information after the War of Independence, I think he mentioned. Dr. Christopher Curry has a book called Freedom and Resistance. Freedom and Resistance, a social history of black loyalists in the Bahamas. I've read this book. It's a very, very good read, showing some of the things we're talking about today with regard to land. Yeah.
Okay. I would also wish to include that the Land Adjudication Act allows that have that within his portfolio. The minister decides which land will get adjudicated.
Wow.
Please understand it. And we then run the risk. We run the risk of they could target valuable land and then influence the outcomes indirectly, which goes against Article 17, which is a non-discrimination clause of the Bahamian Constitution.
Wow.
So these acts will be thorny when they're going to be challenged.
Yeah.
They have to be.
Yeah. And we're going to have to get you all to come back. We flat out of time. My Lord, this time has flown by. But I want to thank Dr. Jacinta Higgs, Dr. Rudolph Tinker for coming in and opening our eyes to some realities that we must pay attention to because other than that, we're in some serious trouble. You understand? And so don't be afraid. Don't be discouraged. This is why we had the show, because there are people who want to help and want to make a difference. I just want to give you all 2 seconds to say goodbye to the people, and then we're going to be out of here.
I just want to say, Bahamas, God bless you. Land is birthright. It is a blessing. And so I just need you now to cherish it to the point where you get yourselves together. Even if there is a discord in your family, please, unity is critical at this time in terms of going up against an act. Because with act, police is coming and enforce things. And so we want to make sure, ask your representatives as they come around from all the different parties, tell them, please put that act on a hold. And so until afterwards, so we could have the stakeholders meetings that we should have had before it was passed.
Yes.
That was passed by law. Civil Society Bahamas, they should have had it.
Yes.
All right. And I also want to say thanks to Millie Young. Millie Young is a teacher like myself, and she was one of the leaders, her and Will Delancey and a group of them who were going around, and I was following them with my dad. I was young, but following them in terms of leading this fight from way back then.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. And I would just wish to say that land is wealth. It's your heritage. It is your representation for the present